Welcome to my final mock draft of 2023. Comment below on who your team will take in the 2023 NFL Draft. I have Carolina taking Bryce Young. Last year, more and more hype came into the draft with Trayvon Walker going number 1. I see the same trend with Bryce Young. Bryce Young's tape is the best in the draft, and the talented playmaker I predict will start opening day for the Panthers. This mock draft is going to get crazy, so keep up. We have division rivals making a massive trade. The Colts and Texans flip spots in this draft, and the Colts will use the second overall pick on C.J. Stroud. The Colts general manager Chris Ballard was with Kansas City when the Chiefs traded up for Patrick Mahomes, so he's very familiar of trading up in the draft for a quarterback. I won't go into all the details, but I fully expect the Colts to give up a minimum of the first and second round picks this year, plus a first in 2024. I have Houston getting very creative in this draft, so stay tuned, Texans fans. I fully believe Arizona will attempt a trade down, but after the Colts pulling off a surprise, Arizona gets stuck at 3 and end up taking talented pass rusher Will Anderson out of Alabama. Your new head coach and defensive coordinator come from Philly, so it's a must that you get a talented pass rusher early, and the Cardinals get a good one, as Will Anderson would have gone number 1 overall last year. The Texans make a massive trade down to 4 so they can select Tyree Wilson. This defense will only work if you have studs up front. The Texans could select Wilson or Anderson at 2, but the Colts, eager for a quarterback, provide an opportunity to take the talented Texas Tech product slightly later in the draft. Seattle at 5 takes Jalen Carter. I just can't see Pete Carroll passing on the talented Carter at 5. Seattle made big moves this offseason on the defensive line, but are still one piece short. I expect Carter to be that piece as Seattle looks to reclaim the spot as best of the NFC West. Detroit at 6 could take Anderson, Wilson, or Carter. With all 3 gone, I expect Detroit will try and trade down, but will have no takers. Detroit will end up with Myles Murphy at 6. Murphy is very similar to Aiden Hutchinson in that both are best in a 2-point stance. Murphy is actually a better pure athlete than Hutchinson, and Lions fans will love his aggressive nature. The Raiders at 7 could trade down, but I have them taking Christian Gonzalez here. The Raiders need help on all 3 levels of their defense, and Gonzalez has all the tools to be a Pro Bowl caliber corner. I predict Gonzalez will start day 1 in Vegas and have an immediate impact. After investing a ton of money on defensive help in free agency, Atlanta needs to help their young quarterback. Yes, Atlanta could draft someone here, but I think the Falcons believe in Ritter and help him with the best offensive weapon in the draft, and that is John Robinson. I'm fully aware Tyler Aguilar ran for 1,000 yards as a rookie and is a very solid running back. Robinson is special. Draft him on your fantasy football team early. He is going to be a star in the NFL. Chicago at 9, I got them taking Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. Whoever is the highest rated offensive lineman on the Bears' big board will be the pick. In my opinion, that is Skoronski. What the Bears do is draft a talented kid out of Northwestern, plug and play him at left tackle, and enjoy the rest of the first round. I warned you the Texans will get creative in this draft. Here they trade up with Philly to draft Hendon Hooker. Case Keenum or Davis Mills can start day 1, but Hooker is the long-term answer at quarterback. The way I have the Texans drafting is they get their stud defensive lineman earlier in the draft and their quarterback a little later. Hooker will not be pressured to start day 1, but should be ready to take over as a starting quarterback in 2024. Tennessee at 11 could go in a couple different directions. I got Vrabel dribble dipping into his alma mater for Paris Johnson Jr. This offseason, the Titans signed former first-rounder Andre Dillard to take over as left tackle, but it doesn't mean the Titans still don't need offensive line help. Johnson could end up playing guard, but I got a feeling Johnson sooner or later will be the starter at left tackle. Philly now at 12, I got taking Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa. Van Ness could contribute immediately, but doesn't need to start day one. I see Van Ness replacing Brandon Graham as the starting defensive end in 2024. By the time this pick comes around, I do expect Aaron Rodgers to be a Jet. Whether this pick belongs to New York or Green Bay is yet to be determined. In this mock, I will have this pick being made by the Jets. In my opinion, you need a left tackle, and Broderick Jones is the guy. Plug and play Jones at left tackle and you protect your future Hall of Fame quarterback's backside. I have mocked New England trading down in previous mocks and do expect them to try. Here I have New England stand at 14 and taking Brian Branch. The versatile Branch will play safety, nickel corner. He will blitz, he'll play outside corner, and drive Belichick to practice. Belichick loves Bama players, and while Branch may not be a starter, he will play immediately and impact this defense. I got Green Bay at 15 taking Nolan Smith. I know that they have Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, but Gary's coming off of an injury and Preston Smith turns 31 in November. Green Bay must improve on the 34 sacks they had last year, and linebackers that weigh over 240 that run a sub 4.4 do not grow on trees. Smith might only play on passing downs to start in 2023, but don't be surprised if he ends up with double-digit sacks as a rookie. Washington at 16 takes one of my draft crushes, O'Cyrus Torrence. Every other NFC East team has invested heavy draft capital into their offensive line, and every other NFC East team made the playoffs last year. Washington could go corner, they could also go quarterback, but in drafting Torrence, they get a day one starter that helps the entire offense immediately. I don't like sentimental picks, but I will make an exception here. Joey Porter Jr. is pick number 17 for the Steelers. He may not start day one, but I will not be surprised if Porter earns a starting role in 2023. Personally speaking, I think Patrick Peterson will move the safety and let Porter take over when he is ready. This could be sooner rather than later. Lions fans hated when I mocked Witherspoon to Detroit at 6. In this draft, I have Witherspoon falling all the way to the Lions at 18. I love what the Lions did in free agency, adding CJ Gardner-Johnson, Cameron Sutton, and Emmanuel Mosley. Witherspoon may not start right away, but he'll play in sub packages, but I believe will end up as the starter sometime in 2023. Anthony Richardson's fall stop field. I thought about trading up for a quarterback, but Tampa Bay doesn't have a lot of draft capital and they have other holes to fill. In this draft, they get lucky and they get their star quarterback here at 19. Seattle is always a tough team to figure out draft day, and here at 20, I will admit it's kind of a crapshoot of what the Seahawks will do. I'm going Dalton Kincaid here. I know they got Noah Fant and some others at tight end already, but this talented Utah product is tight end in name only. He will help Geno Smith in the red zone, and his abilities will allow more single coverage for Metcalf and Lockett. The Chargers could go in a couple different directions at 21, but I have them taking former Pitt Panther Kalijah Kancey. Charger head coach Brandon Staley was the defensive coordinator with the Rams before coming to Chargers head coach. If he sees any similarities between Kancey and Aaron Donald, this definitely should be the selection. We have another trade as the Kansas City Chiefs trade up to 22 for Jackson Smith-Njigba. Baltimore does not have a second round pick in this draft and only 5 draft picks total. Kansas City with trade capital still left over from the Tyreek Hill trade of last year has plenty. After losing Juju Smith-Schuster in free agency, the Chiefs will trade up and draft the first wide receiver off the board in the 2023 draft. I don't have JSN as my number one wide receiver, but he fits Kansas City perfectly. I debated for a while of what Minnesota should do here at 23. My decision was Will Levis. If Minnesota was completely sold on Kirk Cousins, he would have a long-term deal. In my opinion, Cousins starts in 2023, Levis in 2024. I keep mocking the same thing for Jacksonville at 24. Kelly Ringo, the big physical corner out of Georgia. In my opinion, this will be a day one starter opposite another former Bulldog, Tyson Campbell. One of my favorite players in the draft is Keon White. In this mock, he goes to New York. You could not find a better place for the powerful White to be drafted. Under Wink Martindale, White can be used all over the defensive line. And with all the talent already on the Giants' front seven, White should be allowed to flourish. Don't be surprised if 10 years from now, White is considered as one of the top 3 players out of this draft. The Giants get a monster here at 25. I warned you the Texans were getting creative in this draft. Here I have a little Texas two-step as Dallas will move out of round 1 and back into round 2 at pick number 33. They'll use that pick to draft TCU Horned Frog Steve Avila, an offensive lineman who will be a plug-and-play option for Dallas in the second round. Houston at 26 will draft another TCU Horned Frog in Quentin Johnston. In this mock draft, the Texans will trade up twice, once for future starting quarterback Hendon Hooker and his number one wide receiver when both become starters in 2024. I've been mocking Jordan Addison to Buffalo at 27 for my last couple of mock drafts. Addison really should be gone by now, but the talented wide receiver makes a lot of sense for Buffalo if he is available. Not only will Addison add to the offense's rookie season in 2024 when Gabe Davis becomes a free agent, they will not have to overpay to keep him. With over $90 million going to Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Von Miller, you will end up with some cap casualties. Addison adds to the offense's rookie season and will take over as a full-time starter in 2024. Cincinnati gets one of my biggest draft crushes in Antonio Johnson. The hard-hitting safety I predict will not only become a day one starter for the Bengals, but he will also be an immediate impact player on this defense. Johnson should quickly become a fan favorite with his physical style of play and big hits. We have another trade as the Raiders climb back into round 1. The Raiders at 29 will take Clemson linebacker Trenton Simpson. I fully expect Simpson to be a day one starter. The speedy linebacker should have an instant impact in Vegas. We have another trade as the Rams get back into round 1. I have the Rams trading up for Will McDonald out of Iowa State. The Rams have had multiple cap casualties, one of which was starting outside linebacker Leonard Floyd. The Rams will trade up for his replacement here. McDonald is simply plug and play at outside linebacker day 1 for the Rams. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to like the video. Also a reminder, I will go live for the entire first round of the draft. Join me live as I break down all 31 picks in the first round live. For the final pick in the first round, which now belongs to the Ravens, I narrowed it down to 2 picks. It could be Darnell Wright, tackle out of Tennessee, or local product Deonte Banks out of Maryland. I went with Banks. First off, he is big, strong, and fast, all qualities that the Ravens love in a corner, but what makes him a little special and unique is that he was asked to do a lot of different things at Maryland. He played in a lot of different styles and was asked to do a lot of different things. Ravens ask a lot out of their corners and Banks can do it all. He is raw and he might not start right away, but he is a damn good corner the Ravens will love. If you want to see more draft content, check out these 2 videos.